Hey Byron, hey Mike. Hey, wanted to give you guys an overview of this set of tools, and I think I've got everything working. So I'm going to start snapping site to site together this afternoon based on what I have, which should, I think I've got everything to reproduce the site to site and make it a lot more flexible. So just a quick overview of the tools. I've gotten rid of the things that we were not using, um, and I'll try to stop saying So anyway, first part, query maintenance. So this is where you set up the main queries. Now in your system we had 3 queries, and so this is what we've replicated here. Each query has a name and it's got a set of subqueries. So there are 3 queries that go with it. One is for generating reports that we find on the site. So you would see those like in the site-to-site ranking or maybe building summary data. The other one is the download query, and the third one is the charting query. Now, in most all cases, the chart and the report query are identical, but they don't have to be. So you could change them and have different ones if you wanted to. I've added to this tool the chart configuration. So I had it split out. I think it was just too difficult to maintain, so I've moved everything over here. So each chart or each query in your system has a corresponding chart. Now this is the main definition for a high charts chart, all right? And there's additional JSON configuration that can go into the individual data series. So if you want to change a series from a bar to a line in a particular graph, you could override one series. But this can all be customized and changed as much as we want for each different query. And that's going to be really useful in the site-to-site ranking. Gives us a little more flexibility in how we present those queries. So I'm real happy with that. The next piece is order maintenance. Now this is just building on what we had before, but for each query you have the ability to set up different ordering statements. And I've tried to put in some kind of description or placeholder text in these things so we can remember what everything is. But you will see that you have the various orders that we had before, and this is the SQL phrase that gets concatenated to the queries. So if you're looking at a query, you're going to have select blah blah blah, and then we're going to insert order by, and then we're going to append this phrase. That gives us the ability to run a different query and order the data in a different fashion. All right, so that's the same as it used to be. Next piece is series maintenance. Okay, so for each query, you can have n number of series. So if you go back and look at the queries under query maintenance, you're going to see that for a charting query, I have something like select location of electricity is value 1, value 2, and water is value 3. All right, total is value 4. So I've got four series here, basically, that I'm going to run through this chart that I want to display in a single chart. So, and this is our naming standard. So value 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're looking for these things when we jump into the chart configuration, and I can explain that in a separate video. But series maintenance, you can go find any one of your queries, and then you can add as many series as you want. Now, you don't have to add a series for every value that's in the query, but for a series to show up in the chart, a series definition has to be here. So again, if we go back here and we look at our query maintenance tool and we're looking at utility spend, I can see I've got 4 values here. And if I go to my series maintenance for utility spend, and pull that up. So now I'm going to see I've got 1, 2, 3. I only have 3 of the 4. So if I wanted to add another one, I'll just show you how to do that quick. I'm going to go back real quick and double check and see what that 4th thing was. So utility spend, the last one is total, is valued 4. So I can come over here to series maintenance, and I've got my electricity is index value 1, fuel is value 2, water is value 3. And so to add a 4th value, all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this JSON to my clipboard. I'm going to remove the selection here. I'll put in the value 4, total, and then I'm going to actually name the series, and this is going to display on the chart, and I'm going to add that. All right, so now if I go back in here and I look at utility spend, I've got 4 series in here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they correspond to what's actually in the query, so that's probably the correct thing. And then we've got query testing. It's the 5th option, and this is where you actually can test the queries, make sure they run, reporting is good, that kind of stuff. So this has been done for a while, but now I can come down and just execute any one of these queries, and it'll run the query and show the data down below. This query is a concatenation of the ordering statement. Remember we talked about the query, so this is the first part, and here is the ordering by statement. So if there's any problems, we want to find these things and fix them before we get into doing a bunch of charting and stuff. So, but you can run through and test any query, any ordering by option, and run the query, and you'll see different data in your results as it runs. Okay, next piece, chart testing. All right, so now we take all the stuff that we've been doing and we glom it all together. So now I've got all my charts. I've got my orderers, right? Here's the SQL I'm going to execute. So in our world, we're going to go out and use that SQL, and we're going to pull this chart configuration I set up, and we're going to execute chart and load this up. Now, I'm going to actually try to fix this so that we don't load it in 3 parts, but I'm guessing we're actually running 3 separate queries, but long and the short, it's probably always worked that way. But this is a nice working chart. You can see I've got one of the configurations overridden here so that I'm running a red line on top of a bar. Now, if I wanted to fix that, I'm not going to fix it here. This is the overall chart configuration. The default is for a bar chart. I could change stuff, like if I wanted to change the title or add some new configuration options, I can save that chart configuration right on the fly. That pushes it back into my query definition. I can go back and re-execute it, and my chart's still going to be here. You can see I've got a new title on it. So it gives us some flexibility in playing with the JSON configuration for charts so that we can update things faster than we could before. So let me save that, but I'm going to go fix this series. So I know that my total series in this chart is a line, and I don't want it to be a line. So I'm going to go back to series maintenance. I'm going to pick my energy, square feet, find my total, and then it's here where I could say, oh yeah, I actually was playing around here. I don't even want this. I'm just going to strike out this option because the default is going to be a bar, but I'll leave it as a red series for the time being. I'm going to update that. I'll go back to my chart testing, and now when I come down here and run the same chart, instead of having a line, I'm going to have all bars. All right, so that's the set of tools that I've been working forever on, but I think they're going to work out really handy for snapping together other pieces. And then I would like to chat with you, Byron, for sure about how we can use this for all the charts, because I think we can. And so we'll come up with a scheme that makes sense to you, and we'll see if we can pull it together. All right, and then these other tools are related to the things we were working on for you last week, Mike, for the contract maintenance, so I think you know how to use that. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.